Hey everyone, Nick O'Malley here from MassLive.com, here along with Andrew Callahan at Gillette Stadium, where they're setting up for a concert, and the Patriots are back at practice at home for a couple days before heading to Nashville. Andrew, what did you see today out there?
It was as much of a typical practice as you could see this summer. Not totally high energy, which is to say it was low energy. Tom Brady was sharp. Brian Hoyer and Jarrett Stidham were not, which actually may be a little bit different for Stidham, who we highlighted last week, has been one of the quieter stars from camp. Included in that list, Jacoby Myers, who was excellent again today. A couple nice catches from Maurice Harris. So, they're working through some things. The biggest development, I would say, was probably Isaiah Wynn participating with the first team offense in live contact drills. So these are series in which they're running actual plays against the starting defense for the Patriots. He'd largely been held out. Again, I said it probably 100 times, dipping his toe into the water. He is like submerged to the belly button, perhaps the nipples. I don't know. Like we're getting there where he's almost at 100% full participation.
Yeah, he's not quite dipped his head in yet, but he's at the point where all right, he's in the water.
Yeah, he's in there. And he looks pretty good.
Yeah. And so a couple of changes today, notably no Matt Lacoste, no N'Keal Harry, and the Patriots reportedly, the Falcons announced that Bill Belichick refuses to acknowledge it happened. Patriots traded for a tight end, conditional 7th round pick for the guy from the Falcons, I forgot his name already, but athletic tight end, 3rd-year player out of Drake, pretty athletic guy, questionable hands. Got a little better as a blocker, only caught like 5 passes in his career.
Yeah, a lot of small roster moves are about to be announced. You'll see them all on MassLive.com. You mentioned Harry and Lacoste will start there. Both of them were injured Thursday in Detroit for the preseason game. Leg injuries didn't return. Don't appear overly serious, at least with Harry, but Lacoste's injury is notable because, of course, now, as you mentioned, they signed a new tight end. Trevor Staubert might be his name. It's hard to say all the names coming in and out.
Yeah.
A name that was definitely here today, Cole Croston, wore number 74, backup offensive tackle. He was a guy who started on PUP, 3rd-year guy, hasn't played a whole lot of offense, but 2 years ago made the team as an undrafted free agent, so he's back. Nate Ebner also back on the field today. Ken Webster, corner. So you're going to see some players cut. D'Angelo Ross, again, I've mentioned him a couple times, undrafted kid, he plays a corner, wasn't around, but I wouldn't be overly concerned with Harry. Lacoste we'll see, but again, it just goes to show you that ever-changing face of the tight end position has not done changing.
And one more name, Lance Kendricks was out there today in the red non-contact jersey. Got to see him working with the offense. He's a name that's gotten asked about a lot, and we finally got to see him out there. Didn't seem to get a whole lot of separation. Looks like he was still working out the wrinkles and getting up to speed.
Yeah, but he's solid. And, we saw a lot of Ryan Izzo, who's a former 7th-round pick. He played almost the entire second half against the Lions, and he's known more as a blocker, but he's just 250, and that's right where Lance Kendricks is. So Kendricks is a guy who played with the Rams last year with the Packers, again, obviously on the back end of his career when the Patriots just pick him up off the street a couple of weeks ago. But the bar isn't so high where you go. He's got to really make an impact to start here or contribute. So he might make it as a number 2 or number 3, but, that competition is so far from finished as everyone is trying to chip in and see what they can do to replace Brown.
I did mention this in the description, so I wanted to talk about it. The Patriots did run a fun little trick play where they ran like a stretch and then like a wide flea flicker, and like Brady kind of underthrew his guy but had wide open Maurice Harris, and Harris dropped a gimme on it. But it's always fun when you get to see the Patriots run that sort of stuff in training camp. Yeah,
they had one period, it was just trick play after another, and there are rules that prohibit us from going really beyond that description of like, okay, it was a flea flicker, everyone knows they got that in the playbook, they've run it before, but they've got some cool stuff. And even we could share this, Jacoby Myers was throwing passes to Patriots defensive backs at the end of practice. Again, Myers, undrafted receiver at NC State, been the best receiver in all of camp, and he was a former quarterback, so he converted late in college, and you can see he's still got that arm, good enough an arm. So it was kind of cool. It's a nice thing because this is the last padded practice we'll have here. They've got a walkthrough tomorrow. They go to Tennessee, and after the second preseason game, that means training camp as we know it and is open to the public is over.
Yeah, and Jacoby Myers is a name that's come up a lot this preseason. Continued to look good today, right?
Yeah, he was really good. He connected with Brady, caught a touchdown pass at the end of a 5-for-5 stretch with Brady, which albeit was against the 3rd-string defense. But when you're just looking for someone when you need to make a play, he is getting open. And he also had a back shoulder catch when Brady was going against the starting defense, which set them up for a field goal attempt in a scenario in which they're looking to put the game away and the defense is trying to keep them out, down 2 with a minute left. And the offense won that period, and that was partly due to Jacoby Myers.
You had your roster projection go up this morning. At this point in camp, what would you say is the biggest surprise, cut or addition to the roster you have so far?
It's so tough. So right now I think maybe the biggest surprise would only be 2 tight ends to start, and I would go with Lacoste, though we don't know the status of his injury, and then Ryan Izzo, banking, of course, on Ben Watson coming back in week 5 once he's done with his PED suspension. So that's an area to watch. Otherwise, you could have a surprise cut in the defensive line. Dietrich Wise is still, I think, trying to find his position because their defense has really become, we're just going to have big plotters, gap stuffers in the middle, and then a bunch of edge guys who used to classify as, oh, he's an outside linebacker, he's a defensive end. That's really been blurred where it's just an edge position, and he is in more the traditional defensive end mold. So does he have a home here? I think possibly, because they're going to run a bunch of different packages and alignments and all that different stuff. But he's on the bubble there. I still have Nate Ebner on the outside looking in. But the Patriots are in a good spot in the secondary, and at least with their core special teamers, where you go, okay, Nate Ebner's not the biggest name you have to worry about. But otherwise, for surprises, I mean, it's not a surprise if you've been following, but when you go, he was a second-round pick last year, and you're cutting him, Duke Dawson has not earned anything by way of on-field performance to stick around come September. We'll see if he does. Maybe there's some trade value there, but if so, it's not going to be much.
I've got him firmly on the bubble, even though Bill Belichick claims to have no idea what the bubble is.
Yeah. Media invention name, but everyone knows players in that vicinity, not firmly on the roster, also not firmly off it, so hence the bubble.
All right, great. So back to practice tomorrow, and then you'll be heading to Nashville. Make sure to stay tuned to MassLive.com for more coverage from Andrew. Until then, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you folks all later.
Happy Monday.